We're live on Manx Radio TT's Facebook page. We're with you until 4 o'clock this afternoon, so do get in touch with us. You can get in touch, as I say, on our Manx Radio TT Facebook page, on Twitter, which is Manx Radio TT, and obviously, and also studio@manxradiott.com, and not .com, is it? Manx Radio. What's our email address these days? studiott@manxradio.com. Studio
at manxradiott.
Studio@manxradiott.com. Sorry, how unprofessional. Well, what a start to the show. We have got the parents of Peter Hickman sat in the studio with us now, otherwise known as Hickey. So Peter Hickman's parents, Sue and Dave. Welcome along to the show, Dave. First of all, you are no stranger to racing yourself, are you? Because you're a Manx Grand Prix winner, and also you have entered the two TTs yourself, haven't you?
Yes, indeed. Some years ago now, obviously, but it's nice to be back, and hopefully regularly back as well, with family.
You are with family. You've got an amazing son out there racing. And Sue, welcome back to the Isle of Man. You love it here, don't you?
Certainly do, yeah. Especially when the sun's out like this, it's brilliant, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for bringing the sun. Thank you. Now, you've had quite a year, because there was doubts perhaps that you were going to be able to be over here, Sue, to be able to support Peter, because you've not had the best of health, have you?
No, unfortunately, I suffer with multiple sclerosis and had a really bad relapse in February of this year, and was stuck in a wheelchair for a good 2 months of that. I'm only just starting to get up and walk about now, which I have my stick with me, and occasionally you might see me out on a little buggy as well, so if anybody wants to put a sticker on it, they're quite welcome to.
Oh, you might get a few stickers on that. What plug was that, Dave?
yeah, excellent plug. Yeah.
I know where the sun gets it from, though.
Watch for a little orange buggy.
Is she safe out there around the paddock?
Not yet. She's a novice with the buggy, but you know, she's got a hooter on it, so just keep your ears open.
Well, as I say, if you've just joined us, I am in the studio now live on air with Sue and Dave Hickman, parents of Peter Hickman, and as I say, otherwise known as Hickey, born 8th of April 1987, 31 years old, and very well known out here on the TT course, especially from last year, winning 5 podiums and getting the Joey Dunlop Championship title as well. He was the fastest ever newcomer, Dave, at the TT in 2014 when he made his debut here. Can you just describe what that was like for you, watching your son out on the TT course for the first time, knowing exactly what happens out there, because you are familiar with the course?
Yeah, knowing the course well, and watching Pete after his first Milky lap, following Milky around. I think he was the first guy also to wheelie off the start as well, which is typical Pete. He did the demonstration, the learning lap, and then did his own first lap, which was 109 mile an hour or so for the first lap on his own. And the first thing I did was drag him off the bike and give him a rocketing. I try not to swear there. I said, what the devil do you think you're doing? You know, take your time, sit on the middle of it and cruise round. He said, Dad, I'm only cruising round. His second lap was 115 mile an hour, which on the sidelines when you're watching is pretty scary.
So what did you say to him on that after that lap then?
I couldn't say much really, could I? No, it was difficult. Or just play safe, sit in the middle and pick it off as it comes. Some parts come naturally. Other parts you have to work at a little more to get them to flow together properly. So it was just a case of keeping him calm. Smoothness brings speed, always has done, always will do, i.e. Halewood and the past winners here. Typical smooth, super smooth riders. Maybe a little old-fashioned, but it's the way to get speed around this course.
He's been on a bike for a number of years now, so let's just go back a little bit, because one of the reasons why I've actually got you on the show is, you know, we've got Chris Kinley who does an amazing job talking about Hickey's success around here and what he's up to obviously next week, but I want to know the nitty-gritty from you, Sue. I want to know what he was like as a child growing up, so let's find out a little bit from you. When was the first time that he got interested in racing?
It wasn't until after we'd finished the Grand Prix. He was riding push bikes. He loved 4 wheels. We bought him a little police car with a blue light on it, and he rode the wheels off that. And we had a little 3-wheeler trike which he rode on, and that fell to pieces. But he sort of went off motorbikes because I think because we were going around the Grand Prix and the BSB circuits, he went off it a little bit because it was permanently in his face. And then when he got to about 10, 12 years old, it sort of came back properly then. And then that's when we found out he'd actually got a bike in bits in a
in a
wheelbarrow and brought it home and said, "Dad, can you help me build this?" So that was the start of it. But
I think the start of it possibly was when he was in your tummy, though.
Yeah, well, we used to do the BSB circuits because David was working for Norton's at the time, so we followed him around, and whenever the bike started up, he would be jumping about. And even when he was born, he's always been a very strong-willed. Even as a baby, he was very strong-willed and had his own way of doing things. But
it's just always been there, hasn't it?
It's always been there.
You refused to get him a bike, didn't you? Just talk me through that.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I've been in this game 46 years now, and I've been a 250 British champion. I've won over here on 250. I've also had the good side and the bad side. So generally, I try to keep Peter away from the bad side of things, and certainly for the first few years, fought against him riding anything at all. And we've got him playing football for the local town. We've got him swimming. We've got him cross-country running. And where did he end up? He flogged a radio-controlled 2-metre competition glider I built for him and come home with a wheelbarrow full of rusty bits and pieces and said, "Can you help me build this, Dad?" I said, "Where's my bloody glider?"
What did you do with that then? Because I want to know what happened to the bits in the wheelbarrow.
Yeah, well, the bits in the wheelbarrow stayed in the wheelbarrow where he tried to put it together. Bear in mind he was 12, 13 years old, and I let him get down to the point of breaking down and crying and doing it in a couple of months of slogging away.
Did he have a tantrum?
No, Pete doesn't have tantrums. No, he's a real cool customer, is Pete, always has been. But he's very independent, strong-willed. If he wants to do something, he'll do it. And he can change quite quickly. He'll do one thing and keep push. Then he'll go to something else and push on that. And he's a very, he likes to spread himself out quite a lot. But I've said to him many times, actually, if you need to win something, you need to focus. It's got to be a one-way street, really. But Pete tries to do everything. He's always tried to do everything. So
when you mentioned just earlier there about the dark side of racing, you've had a few accidents in the past, haven't you? And a few injuries. And again, this year it's been quite a struggle for you too, hasn't it?
Yeah, some of the old injuries have come back to haunt me a little bit. I had no crashes in the first 3 years. In fact, I was British champion before I had any crash at all. But the further you move up the scale, i.e. national, then international, then Grand Prix, the pace gets harder and harder and harder. And I was running at an international level. And I also did Grand Prix as well from 76 to 79. And unfortunately, at one of the Grand Prix, one of the internationals, which was a post-TT at Mallory Park, I had a bad accident. I was pole position. We got held on the line while the TV crews did their sweeping across, so the bikes were boiling over by the time we set off. So I went from pole to about 27th, but I was back to 4th by lap 6. And very angry, which was another issue, my own fault. I dumped the bike after passing 2 guys, and those 2 guys came straight over the top and broke everything from my neck to my knees. So there was 18 different breaks, and 3 of those were multiple. So 18 months in Leicester Royal really put paid to any successful racing career. So I turned to designing and building chassis, running teams, and trying to improve the situation for the riders.
Wow, that's an incredible story, and it's amazing that you're standing and walking realistically after that and what you've been through. You mentioned there that you worked with other teams. So we've talked a little bit about low there, but what about the highlights of the teams that you've worked with and the riders that you've worked with, and even maybe highlights of your own career?
Yeah, highlights of my career was 75 when I was British 250 champion, and 77 winning my first Manx on the second attempt. That was a new race record as well, so I was really pleased at that. And in between times, I've done Rider of the Year in 1978 for the ACU. I was in the top 3 of all 3 British championships that were run at the time. That's 750, 250 and 125. I've worked with Neil Mackenzie, Donny McLeod, Ian Simpson, Phil Borley, Trevor Nation, Steve Spray. These are all guys I've helped either get to international level or British Championship level. I've handled at least 5 British champions over the years, at least 5, plus myself, of course. And I've been involved with Norton, the rotary engines. I designed the chassis for them, with help from Brian Crichton, of course, Brian being the boffin, me being the practical guy. Yeah, because he could design, he could think of something, but 90% of it wouldn't work, and I was the guy who had to make it work. So I learned a lot over the years. I designed 125 chassis and 250 chassis as well for EMC. I helped with the Silverstone Armstrong Grand Prix team, which were 250 carbon fibre, full carbon fibre bikes. Quite a lot of teams.
I'm just smiling away because all I'm thinking is the amount of job offers that you're going to get after this radio show. I'm telling you, Dave. You know, obviously Peter is very, very lucky to have you as a father and on the team as well, because you're pretty hands-on. He is, Sue, isn't he?
Very much so, yeah. When Peter decided he wanted to go racing, David said, right, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it properly, and you're going to do it by my means. And Peter did exactly what his dad said, really, and he's always been safe. He doesn't crash very often, and when he does crash, there's always a reason for it. So yes, touch wood.
Yeah, let's not say that on air, please. But yeah, he is having an absolutely incredible career so far, and so strong last year, Dave. I mean, what a year for him. Do you think there's a lot of pressure on him right now for what he's got to do this year?
The only pressure Peter feels really is what he puts on himself. He generally enjoys people, enjoys talking to people. It's all he sees it as his life. It's what he was made to do. So he's quite happy dealing with all the people, the press, the TV crews. It's not really an issue for him. It's all part and parcel of what he enjoys doing. So,
he is an utter professional. We're going to talk a little bit more about Peter Hickman, and here, if you just joined us, we're live in the studio from the Grandstand at the Manx Radio TT studio, and I'm here with Sue and Dave Hickman, who have got so much more to say, so we're just going to take a break and we'll be straight back with them.